Well, hello folks, and welcome to a Sportsman's Life. I'm Luke Clayton and my two good buddies,
Jeff Rice
and Larry Weissoon, and we're so proud that you're with us this week. I'll be very honest with you, I have no idea where we're going.
There is no telling, but it's going to be fun.
We're going to have a good time, folks. Stay tuned. We have another great adventure on our Sportsman's Life coming your way.
Well, good morning, folks. It's your old buddy Luke Clayton and Mr. Jeff Rice.
Morning.
Today. How you doing, Jeff?
Good. How are you, sir?
I'm ready to talk hog hunting. This was Jeff's idea, folks, and it's a good one. We're going to talk about, let's call this Hog Hunting 101.
Absolutely.
And we're down on Jeff's place, the Buck and Bass Ranch, and if you can see around us, we're in the bottoms, right in the middle of some of the best hog hunting, honestly, that I've ever been exposed to. About 300 or 400 yards through here this morning, I killed a hog right out of the
sure
box.
Did. A nice one too.
A nice one. So it's a fun day. Actually, the backstrap has cooked. We just finished eating some backstrap of some very, very fresh pork. So our goal, Jeff, is to talk to people and explain some of the things are going to be rudiment to experienced hog hunters. So we know that.
Absolutely.
And if you're an experienced hog hunter, you just agree with us.
That's right.
But if you're not, some of the stuff we're going to cover, Jeff, is going to help some people, I'm sure.
Absolutely. We want to give you folks some tips for those of you that are kind of wanting to get into the hog hunting thing and kind of what to look for, the signs of hogs, you know, those kind of things that will help you become a better hunter. There's a lot of little tricks and tips out there we'll kind of cover today, what to look for, where to go. And we want to cover all of that for you. We're going to kind of show you some setups, maybe some blinds. We'll talk a little bit about trail cameras, some of the products that we use, all of these things that help us shoot hogs. So we're going to cover the gamut a little bit. So we're going to kind of move around the property here, and we're going to show you some different things.
And Jeff, you know, the way we hunt, which I'm an old outdoors writer, I'm sure most people that listen to this know that. I killed a hog this morning with the Air Force Air Guns Texan, a big 45 caliber, 350 grain bullet.
Right.
But we hunt with everything. So this is not so much about bow hunting. I still hunt with a bow a lot. Jeff is a major bow hunter. But even people that just patterning hogs, finding out where they're at, locating concentrations of hogs. If you hunt them at night, we hunt them at night with digital night scopes, Photon XTs. A lot of people use thermals. So what we're going to cover, folks, is going to help you find hogs. Before you can kill them, you got to find them, right, Jeff?
That's exactly right. And our first tip that we're going to give you is do your homework. You know, there's areas, I mean, they say Texas is full of hogs. It pretty much is, but there's not hogs necessarily everywhere. So find an area that you know that there are hogs. Right there, you've increased your odds. And some of the things we're going to show you today are going to give you, that's going to be your clue. Yep, there are hogs here. And probably one of the most, the best way I know of to find hogs is a trail camera. And we won't go into deep into the trail camera because there's all kinds out there. Pick your trail camera, but trail camera placement and just utilizing them, checking them out. You'll see what's in the woods. There are your eyes in the woods. Very important. Do your homework, find places where there are hogs, set up trail cameras, and when you go there, you'll know that there are hogs there. Then you begin your game plan as to where you want to set up, and we'll get into the setups here in a minute.
Good deal. Well, Jeff, I say we head back on in the swamp, the lowlands here, and show some rubs, where they rub in the trees and trails. And
let's do that. But before we do, let's talk a little bit about products.
Let me tell you about,
Yeah, let's talk a little about what we use.
folks, this is not a commercial. You can call it one if you want to. I'm 100%. This is, it's called Scent Guardian. Now, Texas raised hunting products. Our buddy Larry Weissoon got me interested in this and got me using it. This stuff works. It doesn't mask scents. It eliminates it. Now, don't ask me the chemistry behind why it works. Larry could probably explain it to you. You spray this down, and it eliminates. You can put gasoline, and I've done this on a rag, and leave it overnight, and you smell the gas. Spray that and give it a few hours. It's gone. You can't smell any gas.
Amazing.
So anyway, I've in the years past, I've not been a big believer in scent cover scents and stuff. This is a odor eliminator. So the use of this, the hog's number one way of protection.
Listen to this. Key important.
Yeah, he can, and don't think they're blind. They are not blind. You know, I've heard so many people think they're half blind. They're not. But they do have a nose. In Germany, they can sniff out a truffle 14 inches under the soil.
Absolutely.
And don't think they can't smell you if you're downwind. Cover Scent, Scent Guardian, Texas raised hunting products. Call it a commercial if you want to. Check this out. And as long as we're talking about scents, this is the coolest deal. Now, anybody that's hunted hogs much, Jeff, they know the best corn. Hogs eat corn. If they can smell a truffle 14 inches under the
smell
ground,
a pile of corn.
And it does not have to be sour.
That's right.
But baits and all that, I mean, I've mixed Kool-Aid with soured corn. I've done it all. Dug post hole down, and that's not a bad plan, too. Put corn down the post. It'll keep them there a while.
That's right. Keeps them there.
This stuff right here, I want to you got to take the top off this rascal, which is sealed up pretty good. It's made by Texas raised hunting products, and it's Inflamed Sow Seduction. It's got a picture of a hog on it. I've been putting this out on the Trinity River with no corn, no nothing. And the cool thing is it's sealed. There's a pop. We're going to pop the top on this thing here in a minute. But you open it up, and it's the scent glands from the hogs, folks. The first time I used it, I've got trail camera pictures with hogs, boars and sows with their nose right in it. But what you do, I'm going to show you, just take it like a can of Vienna sausage, right? Look here. Listen to this sound. Now, this is not Vienna sausage. I'll pick this up later. Now, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Now, you're talking hog here.
You bet.
And then you just basically put that down, and then you open this up,
vent
thing up like this.
There you go. Yeah.
We've got it vented up here. I set that out on a trail camera the first night, and it looked like a war zone around it. And this was not the one I found the next morning was not in pristine condition like this. So the use of attractants works. Corn is your best friend for sounders of hogs.
Yeah, that's candy to a hog, folks. I mean, you put corn on the ground, and we at the Buck and Bass Ranch here, we have 13 feeders going year round, and believe me, that's one of the reasons why we have a lot of hogs here, is they've got food to eat.
They would be hogs coming through.
Oh, yeah.
But now they come through, and it's a smorgasbord for them. So anyway, Texas raised hunting products, folks. Check this out. They also, what we're going to be using here this fall and winter, they've got some awesome scrape material, scents for bucks. So we're going to put that to use too. Back to hogs. So, do we want to show the folks some of the sign?
Let's go into the sign, but I want to cover one little thing we missed. We talked about their scent, their nose. They smell good. You'll get busted every time if you're not setting up in the wind correctly. So know your wind direction and know that hogs will come in using the wind. As Luke alluded to, don't think a hog is blind. They're not blind. If you move really slow, you can get by with movement, but be careful there. And the third thing is hearing. Hogs do hear pretty good, so you gotta kind of be quiet. So keep those things in mind. Those three things I think are really the key element to successful hog hunting. So yeah, let's take a walk around. We've got some things around here. I want to show you folks some sign, and this is what you want to look for when you're out here hog hunting. You see this stuff, you'll know there's hogs in your area. We'll be back. Okay folks, we are back, and one of the things I want you to take a look at here, it's really right in front of us here, leading right toward the camera. This is a well-used hog trail, and obviously you can tell that it is. It's well beaten down, and you can clearly see hog tracks moving through the area here. A couple things I want to point out. Number one is you can tell a couple things. Number one, the size of the hog coming through here by the size of their hoof print. Give you a good idea what size hogs you got going. Secondly, what way are the hoof prints going? The freshest hoof prints. That'll tell you which way they're moving. In this particular case, looking here, I can see majority of the hoof prints in this area right here are going right toward the camera. And it looks like several of these are extremely fresh, so my guess is a couple right up in there. My guess is those hogs came through here within the last maybe 3 or 4 hours. They came right on through here, and there's a feeder down the way a bit, and they were probably heading that direction. But you need to look for these crossings and these trails. There's one that comes in here, joins in here, comes right down through here. So they meet. So these hogs will use different trails. Now, don't think for a minute that I don't hunt these trails, because these trails, you know they're going to come down them. So if the wind happens to be blowing in this direction, I'm certainly not going to hunt up here, because my scent will go right across this trail. I might want to go bring a little stool, just a little chair, set it back in the woods, downwind of a trail like this, and man, I tell you what,
Get ready. Hogs like this.
Absolutely.
And this is really like a junction of trails. One trail is good, two trails is better, and we do have this one, and then 2 trails coming.
Absolutely.
Coming in.
But the key thing here is making sure that they're being used. There's some old trails in the woods you'll see that may have been deer trails. That could even have been. You got to look for tracks, and we'll show you some hoof prints here of a hog, and maybe kind of differentiate what a hog track looks like versus a deer track.
Folks, here is a typical rub. This tree has been rubbed in recently, but not a whole lot. Some of these trees that we can probably show you have been rubbed to the point that, it's down, the bark is gone, totally gone. Hogs coming down that trail that we just showed you, they've been rubbing right here. Here's a very interesting thing that I just learned a few years ago. You see these, a boar a lot of times will get up and use his cutters and the whetters and mark, scent mark. That's what he's doing. We'll probably find a tree like that soon around here somewhere. But you'll see looks like someone took a pocket knife up here and just chipped it, cut it. Well, that's where a boar is, and don't always think the boar. I've seen them up this high. Now, I used to think, wow, what a boar. Well, that's not what's happening. A lot of times I have seen boars get up and try to walk these saplings down. They scratch their belly, and so they're not standing there with their head this high. They're actually they get up on the trees. I've seen that happen. Actually witnessed it. So a rub. Find an area with a lot of these rubs, fresh, and you're in good hog country.
Okay, folks, I alluded to this a little bit earlier in the show, but this right here is your eyes in the woods. Get you a good trail cam, set them out in appropriate areas on the trails that we just showed you a minute ago. Set one up on a trail. You'll see when they're coming through. You'll know what time they're coming through. You know which direction they're going. You'll know what size of hogs you've got. A lot of good and useful information captured right here. If you don't have one of these out in the woods, you might be missing the boat. Another thing that you really want to get set up in the woods in the appropriate areas is blinds. Obviously, you got to have a place to hunt, but don't think for a minute you have to have a blind. When it comes to hog hunting, it's not like deer hunting. Again, they can see, they will smell, they can hear, but you can get away with just bringing a little chair. As a matter of fact, did you not do that this morning?
Yeah, you bet.
Just
Set back up. The wind direction. Watch
Yep.
the wind direction, and the prevalent directions too. The wind, for most of us, that we hunt in Texas a lot, but southwest wind, very common.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the wind. Bring a compass. I take a compass with me a lot of times when I place a ladder stand or a ground blind. You've got this set up for, it'll kind of get a crosswind or whatever. You're safe with this, but think about the wind direction.
Yeah, there's apps out there, folks, you can put on your cell phone, and it shows you which way the wind's blowing. And I just look at that and go, oh, wind's going that way. Okay, we're hunting over here. Or, you know, you just got to get your directions right. But placing blinds, I've got a ground blind built back here. We've got a ladder stand here. We've got a feeder off in that direction. And the reason why I have it set up this way is your wind typically is coming out of the south, and it's blowing off this direction. All right, so I know right here my scent's not blowing that direction into the feeder, because if it was, probably not a good place to hunt. So we've got 2 blinds set up here, one on the ground, one in the air. Take your pick. Some people don't like to climb ladders. Ground blinds work perfect. But once again, don't forget, you can grab a little chair and set it over against a tree, and believe me, that does work.
Folks, if you have ever been around domestic hogs, you know they love water.
They do.
They do. Hogs gravitate to water. Here's a typical water. There's a water source, a low drain coming through here that, gosh, it goes all the way. It's just a natural low spot. Jeff's feeder's right over here, stands here. Even in the summer, it's going to be damp, and hogs can root in that soft soil. So water. I mean, you don't have to be on a river, but many times in the summer, ponds. Say you're not in the bottom. We're in the bottoms, the Sabine bottoms right now. But say you're up on high ground, a pond. They're going to come to that.
They will.
Pond to the water. Jeff, let's talk a little bit about still hunting. Some people call it stalking hogs. Something I've done a lot, and I know you have, and it's a lot of fun. But to me, this is just tailor-made for that kind of still hunting. Wind direction. If you want to have some fun, folks, try that. It works. Not every time, but when it does work, it's very, very exciting.
The one thing you got to remember, though, if you're stalking, you want that wind in your face. If the wind's behind you blowing where you're stalking, you're wasting your time. So just keep that in mind. Again, the wind is probably the most critical element when it comes to hog hunting, because their noses are so amazing.
Something I learned from our mutual friend Mark Billette. He has B&C Outfitters down in Groveton, Texas, years ago. I was doing a muzzleloader story, and I just started hunting with a muzzleloader, an old percussion type, So we were down in the country very much like this, and I was thinking we were stalking hogs. Mark had a camera going, I was doing the shooting. Well, we spotted some hogs maybe 75 yards through cover, very much like this, thick, not like the water, but just thick cover. So I said, okay, there they are. Let's go to them. Old Mark is probably one of the more experienced hog hunters. He makes his living hunting.
Sure.
He says, no, look, I tell you what, the wind was coming. Blowing. He said, I tell you what, let's sneak around. And we took off this way. The hogs were over there. Came up and let the hogs come to us. So
Smart.
if you're gonna stalk, and I've killed a ton of them since then. I always remember old Mark telling me that. So if you ever want to get out and still hunt, slip through the woods, and I don't mean walk. I'm talking about take a step every 2 or 3 steps every minute. Don't just start walking. Use your ears, and a lot of times you'll hear them. You'll hear
most of the time you will. It's amazing.
You'll hear a sow whack another pig, a squirrel or a boar.
Yep.
Trying to chase a sow. You'll hear them, or you'll hear them just feeding. And then when you do hear them, watch the wind, sneak around, get behind or get downwind, and try your best to let them come to you. What do you think, Jeff?
Absolutely. And one of the things, we're talking about water here, stalking along water, especially in the daytime hours when it's very hot outside, I can promise you those hogs are going to be somewhere in this area, because what they do is they'll actually lay down in this water. And don't think for a minute they won't walk through this. They're in the water. That's how they keep bugs and insects off of them. They stay cool. In the heat of the day, this is where they're going to be. So keep that in mind. If you want to stalk along a body of water, keep the wind in your favor. Stalk that body of water and be watching up ahead. And another thing, when it comes to stalking, Luke, I think one real key element as well is having a good pair of binoculars. You don't want to walk up on something and spook them. If you can kind of watch ahead as you're stalking along, and then you see something, you hear something, and you can make your plan to move on in. Here's a very important tip, folks. So this here is a hog track. And one of the most interesting things about a hog track is, and the differentiators between a hog and a deer is, you can see this is pretty rounded in here. That tells you it's a hog. Deer will have very, very pointed ones. Now here's a little piglet. Does look a little bit pointed, but believe me, there's a big V here. See the V here? You'll notice on a deer, it's going to be very much moon-shaped, more moon-shaped than this rounding. So keep that in mind when you're looking at tracks. That right there is a good size, probably 100-pound hog.
Folks, we're at a place now where there have been hogs, not last night, but recently. There's been a lot of rain down in this country, so when you hear people talk about, I've got a hog problem, this is what usually kicks off that, you know.
Sure does.
Now, if you have a big hay field, or say you're raising corn or an agricultural crop, you know, this is a problem. Now, where we're at, these hogs, they probably did this one night. You know, it doesn't look like a wallow where they keep coming back, Jeff, but, you know, it's not rocket science. This is hog sign here, you know.
I think they were in here, Luke. I think they were digging for grubs and anything that they could come up with. But folks, you can obviously see this is almost looks like it's been tilled. There's tracks everywhere. So the obvious sign of hogs. And you know, you look at this and you go, wow, there's a lot of tore up stuff here. And you'd be surprised. It doesn't take a lot of hogs to do just this little bit. It's amazing, but they will come in there and they'll put their little noses in the ground. And
they could have done this in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Looks like they worked at it for hours, but I bet it didn't take them 30 minutes in here.
Okay, folks, we're back to another obvious sign of hogs. Now, you can see there's just a little bit of wet mud in here, but when you find what's called a wallow, typically there'll be a low spot where there's water, and the hogs will come in here and they'll actually roll around in these low spots. And they love to get the mud on them and get wet. And what that does is kind of takes insects off of their, you know, their body, kind of cools them off. They absolutely love it. So a lot of times you'll see hogs running around the woods and they look all muddy. And that's why they look muddy, right, Luke?
Yes, if you're in pine country, hogs just love to, the sows will bed up in this and have their pigs. And this, I don't know how much they've used this area, but they've been in here. But I mean, I've seen them big, and I've seen communal bedding areas with several
of these around. Yeah, exactly.
And the sows, they depend on each other for protection. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty common. But you don't see it a lot. But if you look, you know where to look, you'll see these beds.
Yeah, there's a couple larger sized tracks in the area, so I'm guessing this might even be a boar.
It could be
bedded in here.
Yeah, it's a pretty good sized indention right there. Yeah, it could be, but
they'll come in here and they'll kind of move leaves away and kind of find some cool ground. They like to keep their bodies cool, and it's shady in here. There's a nice breeze blowing through the pines. They can lay in here. They can watch for, you know, things around them, anything that might be, you know. They don't really have any natural predators per se, but except me and Luke.
Until they get up, I think I've read and I've seen this. When a pig gets about 2 weeks old, he's a fast little rascal.
Oh yeah.
Bobcats and coyotes, and then you know, they do. Coyotes do eat the small ones, but they'll team up on them and grab one and run. You know.
Yep.
But probably easier said than done. Another thing, in the winter, you'll see that they like to get in here because I've seen them bedded up when it's real cold. You have to. So get the indication from Jeff and I that we do love to hunt hogs, yes, but we love to eat them too.
We do. Well, we love to hunt everything, fish. It's all, you know what, folks? It's all about the outdoors. Get your family and your friends. Get out here and do this kind of stuff. It's endless fun. Is it not?
It is. I mean, it's really a lifestyle for me. I mean,
well, folks, it's Luke Clayton, and please don't think I'm going to get all chefy on you today, but we're going to make some Dutch Kettle Cordon Bleu. Sounds really tedious, hard to do. It's really, really simple, made in a Dutch kettle. I'm out here at my little cabin behind the house cooking this up. Got everything sliced up and prepared, so let me walk you through how simple making Cordon Bleu in a Dutch kettle is. It's something that if you want to impress your friends at camp, make a pot of this stuff. So let's get going. What do you say? Okay, folks, we have got the cast iron Dutch kettle, some butter heating, some more coals, B&B charcoal, of course, the lump charcoal. And we're gonna look right over here at the ingredients. Here is some ham sliced up, some Monterey Jack cheese. I like the Monterey better than Swiss. I like Swiss, but this is a little better. And some sliced chicken breast. And some breadcrumbs. So we'll coat this chicken breast with the breadcrumbs and we'll get it in the cast iron skillet. Okay, my friends, let's see what this Dutch Kettle Cordon Bleu is going to look like. I can tell that chicken is well done. Oh man, Let's put some of this on a plate and have a little lunch. What do you say? I think this stuff is going to eat. Look at that ham right there with it. Oh yeah. Folks, let's serve some of this up. What do you say? Well, folks, here we have this Cordon Bleu all plated up. I've already sampled it, I won't kid you. Like I say, I'm not exactly a chef, and you don't have to be either to make this stuff. Probably not plated just like a chef would plate it, but I'm going to tell you what, the flavor's there. And this is something that you can cook at camp in 45 minutes, and the prepping is real easy. So hope you enjoyed our little cooking segment today. Let's get back to our show and see what's coming up.
Spring turkey season is here, John.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, how do you guys at Double Nickel mount turkeys, and what kind of shape, and what's the best way to take care of turkeys if somebody wants to have it mounted?
That's a good question. The best thing they can do if they want to have it mounted is just fold up the wings, put it in a trash bag, seal it, and freeze it, or keep it in an ice chest and bring it in. There's no need to skin it or gut it or anything like that. It's kind of like a bobcat or another small animal. Just keep it whole. We'll take it from there. Birds in general are pretty temperamental. They're hard to deal with, so we would rather skin it. And if you want the breasts out of it, we can do that for you, but we would prefer you not cut into it.
And the best thing to do, as you said, just kind of put it in a bag.
Yeah.
Cool it down.
Get some pictures, put it in a bag, cool it down. They're smaller when they're compressed, so you can put them in a freezer. If you can't get to a taxidermist right away, they're usually good if they're sealed up in a plastic bag for several months before you need to get it to a taxidermist. So just try not to drop any hard blocks of ice or food or anything on top of them, and you should be fine.
And how do they get it to you?
Sure. So we get birds from all over the country. So you can ship them into us on dry ice. Just put them in a little ice chest, some dry ice in a bag, and ship them to us. Or just bring them in, and we can go over some options with you in person. And just contact us at 830-237-9481, or you can email us through our website at doublenickeltaxidermy.com.
Well, folks, thanks for tuning in to today's Sportsman's Life. We had a good time.
As always.
As always, and I want you to let everybody know next week we're going to have another show. Don't have a clue where we're going to be, but we're going to be somewhere. We're going to be having fun, right?
You bet. So stay tuned for another exciting adventure next week with these two clowns and myself. We'll have some fun, huh?
It's going to happen.
See y'all next week.
And a special thanks to these fine sponsors: Air Force Air Guns, B&B Charcoal, Dallas Safari Club, Hornady, Pyramid Air, Nielsen Specialty Ammo, Sightmark, Smokin' Tex, Snap Block Hunting Blinds, Texas Raised Hunting Products, and Striper Express.